If you've been using Unity for any amount of time, you've probably noticed the inspector window. The inspector window is the window that opens up on the right-hand side whenever you click a game object and shows you all of its properties. From here, you can configure and change lots of settings. The options in the inspector window come in various types. Each component has its own, and they can be checkboxes, number inputs, and sometimes even places where you can drag in things like your own game objects, audio clips, sprite animations, etc. Today, I'm going to show you how to create your own properties in the editor for scripts that you create yourself. So I'm going to start out with this game object here. I'm going to click on it and go to the inspector. And at the bottom, I'm going to add new component. Select script, and let's name it PlayerStats. So now that we have our script opened up in our text editor, we can go ahead and add a variable. Let's call this health. Health is going to be a number for this game, so let's make this an integer. Int health. Now here's the really important part. If we add the word public in front of this variable, now it is exposed to the Unity editor, which means that in the editor, you will see a control for this variable that you can change. If we try to change the value of this variable, you'll notice that it is forcing it to be an integer. So if I try to put in 4.5, it's not going to work. It's only going to accept whole numbers or negative whole numbers. You can also set default values for any of your variables. Let's set the health value to 10. Next, let's create a different type of variable. Let's create one where you can drag something into it. Let's say that we have a health bar in our game and we want this script to be able to access it to change its size. Let's create a new variable, public game object health bar. Now if we go back to the editor, we'll notice that there's a new field here for health bar, and we can drag another game object into it. That game object is now accessible from the script. Now what about checkboxes? Well, checkboxes are the way that Unity's editor displays a Boolean or true-false value. So let's go back to our text editor, and we're going to make a new Boolean, public bool sleeping. One thing to note is that in Unity, a Boolean value defaults to true. So let's go ahead and set this equal to false for the default value. Take a look at it in the editor and we'll notice that there is a checkbox here that is not checked. So let's go ahead and check that. And now that's setting the value to true. A really useful way that I found to use public variables is to make public variables that are arrays. For example, a lot of times I'll make an array of audio clips. That way I can drag in lots of different sounds and have something in my script randomize which one is played. Now that you've got a taste of this, try some other types of variables. There are way too many to go over in one video, but anything that you make public will show up in the Unity editor in some form or fashion. If you get something out of this video series and you want to see it continue, consider becoming a supporter over at patreon.com/instantunity. Also, if you have any ideas for future episodes or questions for me to answer, feel free to put them in the comments. Thanks.